Welcome back, everybody, to Howling with the Wolves with me, Nicholas.
Me, Mohit?
Me, Melvin Wolf. Today we're going to be talking in general about science and internet.
And first of all, we're gonna start off with some gene editing, which I know nothing about. And these guys are going to introduce.
So, gene editing has been around since after World War II, more or less. But for a very, very long time, even though there were obviously improvements and steps forward, it's been basically kind of trying to change something in that gene, but you weren't able to target specific things, or you would use radiation to just like change something and see what happens. All right, we'd experiments would just like use radiations on rats and see what happened, and then be like, oh, so it changed this gene, and now the rat has dots all over, or now it has cancer, or now it has red eyes, or you know what I mean?
Have you have any of you read Flowers for Algernon?
No.
Nope.
Oh, it's a good book. Like it's about why am I talking about this? Never mind.
So then very recently in the 2000 since 2010, there was this massive change with a technology which has actually is just a copy of our a defense system that our body uses to defend against viruses, more or less, called CRISPR or Cas9. CRISPR as in CRISPR. Feel free to do research on your own. Which basically changed everything that we're now very cheaply, very efficiently, very precisely able to modify specific parts of the DNA to change exactly what we want. This enables us to, by changing one molecule without any issue, to cure cancer, for example. We can do this on live cells. This has been proven to be working on human beings, on animals, and on plants, and on like just stem cells or whatever. And like it's not like cheap to the point of you go to the lab, but it's cheap to the point of I guess university. It's like high level research, but it's not a process anymore of a couple years of doing some gene editing on a specific or doing research. It's a process of a month or 2 months to create a rat which I don't know can jump extra high, for example, or babies with blonde hair.
Because what is science
Or
without
obviously
jumping
depending on the state of research, right? Like sometimes we know we just need to change this. This is a lot of the case with sicknesses, like where they are very analyzed and we are very aware of what's exactly going on. With other things, that's less the case, and we're more like on the research side. Let's say with animals, for example, right? Animal behavior or whatever. I don't know. Well, like you can just change. Like we don't know which gene to change to make. I don't know. A lion's pet, right? But maybe in 5 years we will. But yeah, so this is like very very real, and I think Nicholas, you want to go on like what this kind of means?
Well, what it means to be real,
Well,
it obviously
I'm just
does.
gonna add one more thing before I go over to you. Is that okay?
Sure.
Just to
Fuck on.
point out this fact even more. Since June 2016, if I'm not completely mistaken, in China they are using this gene editing method to cure lung cancer on a living human guy. And in the US, 1 month before, they also started to do that to try and cure another cancer. And we already know how this could be used to, for example, cure diseases which are running in your family tree and stuff like that. Nicholas?
Yeah, well, first of all, genetic engineering being real on that scale does not mean that anyone's getting a third arm anytime soon.
God.
Which is sad, but also very fictional.
Oh.
Like the things you can do are still limited and realistic. But nevertheless, there are very, very real ways to use all of that. And of course, as it's always the case when you talk about genetic engineering and things like that, there's ethical concerns because, well, the most commonly brought up arguments are, for one, genetically engineered food, GMOs, always a very controversial topic. And also the idea of a designer baby. Like you are parents, you're about to have a kid, and well, you have the possibility of basically changing anything you want on your baby, right? And that's kind of a complex ethical dilemma complex ethical debate that's been going on, and I think that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To add on the designer baby thing, on what you said before, like we said, we
Yes.
can't make babies grow a third arm quite yet, or at least not in a way that makes sense. What we can do is
Yes.
like take the best of humans that we have, and even go a bit better. So you can like give perfect eyesight, give it's not at the level where we can do this right now, but like it's really it's a bit of research away, or actual bit of testing away, of giving perfect eyesight. Some people are better at building up muscles, getting rid of tendency to get diseases, getting a stronger immune system, getting some eye color, hair color, intelligence, tendency to have better memory, and size. Yeah, you want to be big.
Ah.
You want to be big somewhere else.
Ah.
And obviously, like no researcher is gonna be like, "Yo, guys, we need to pursue this because we can have big dicks on all our babies." It's gonna be,
What?
we can cure cancer, or and
Did you just
we
say?
can cure cancer, for example, possibly with this, yes, or other diseases. But we have to also be aware of what this means, and that once you start, this doesn't stop.
Oh my god.
We're not going to have big dicks on all of our babies. That's what I take away from this podcast.
No,
But
not so,
to get...
no. That's not gonna be the excuse for going into this. We are going to have big dicks on all our babies in 20 years.
I do not condone this. Okay. Anyway.
To get back on topic.
Okay. So I have a question.
Yes.
How big is it?
How does gene editing actually work? Like, do you like implant something? Like, how does it actually work?
As far as I know,
So-
I'm not sure if CRISPR works that way, but one way to actually manipulate genes is by using a virus. Like the way viruses infect your cells is they get into your cell, they modify your DNA basically by inserting their own DNA inside of there, and then your cell does the work for the virus. So if instead
it's
of
actually a bit the contrary, but you're not quite wrong. You basically tell your body
Yeah.
that the normal cell is a virus, and it should correct it by this what you tell it.
Oh.
And then it starts doing that. At some point, like if you just inject one of these, proteins, it's not gonna change all your body. But if you start doing this, first of all, something that grows, it's very easy. And otherwise, like it's been tested by injecting it just in the tail of rats, for example, like an infusion of these cells or something, of these proteins. It was able to get rid of 50% of contaminated cells. So like they made all the cells have I don't know what.
Cells.
Like disease or something. Yeah, I think disease which went through all of the body. Exactly. They had disease in over 90% of the body of the rat. Then they injected the cure, which was Cas9 proteins which would modify the gene of the sickness, like get rid of the sickness that way, into the tail and got rid of 50% of it throughout the body of the rat. And that's like with stage 1 research, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just in the tail. So if you start injecting it everywhere and have a bit more modified or advanced, I guess, bacteria and so on. I'm not in the exact biology of how the enzymes and the proteins work, yeah, I'm not a chemist. But that's kind of how it works. We basically tell your body's defense system to change out.
Okay, so I guess that answers my question. Yeah.
Perfect.
But I thought it'd be something cooler, I don't know. Like you get hooked up to a computer and then they
I don't know.
go to your hex, go to your memory hexadecimal and then.
No.
That's not computer
It is
stuff.
really cool, but on a biological level.
Well,
There's a really
science
good
does
16-minute non-Kurzgesagt video I recommend you check out.
Okay. CGP Grey.
No,
Science-
Kurzgesagt.
the name that they themselves can't pronounce.
Exactly.
That's off topic.
Off topic. That is the name of a really good
What's
podcast.
your opinion on this, guys?
My opinion?
And, to add some more to the controversy, what you have to know that it's two women professors or whatever researchers who found this basically, found that you could actually do this. 'Cause we were aware of this like body system, but we didn't know you could program it. And they were like, oh look, we can program it.
Okay. Why
And
are people worried about the moral aspect of this? Why? What?
you
is
could
that?
make brainwashed people. You could make people programmed
Oh,
to be
right.
brainwashed.
Good, good, good.
You could pay so you have a smarter child. Now that's great, but only if you're rich. So you could increase poverty. You know what I mean? Like you would have a you could depending on how it goes end up with like 1 billion of people who are all super smart, beautiful, awesome
We're rich.
people who need 4 hours of sleep, and you know what I mean?
Also
Have an
kind of
extreme
get
tendency to live healthy and live 150 years. And then you have poor countries, you know, with none of that. Who do you think is gonna like survive in the capitalist market? You know, like the poor is gonna get even poorer, and the rich are gonna get even richer. Like it's just completely normal.
the other
So
things
that's
is
one of the issues. And the thing is, we're going extremely fast. Like normally, like with gene editing in the past, you know, it was like, okay, now we finally like, or with cloning, you know, it's like 30 years later they cloned a sheep, and this is like, yo, we tested it on a plant. Yo, 2 years later, yeah, we tested it on an animal. Yo, 1 year later, oh, we tested it on a guy. Yo, now we're curing cancer with it. It's like, yo, where's the timeline, people? You know? For all we know, maybe in like 10 years, all these cells die. We have no idea. You know what I mean?
That's one issue, yes. The fact that there's no data on long-term consequences. So it's very well possible that while it appears that the gene therapy does cure cancer for now, it might actually fuck up your entire system and you might have tumors we didn't even know exist.
Yeah.
And then the other issue, especially with the whole designer baby debate, is it kind of gets rid of like individuality and like who you are as a person. If you can basically decide what kind of genes are passed on consciously,
Exactly.
is that really a free human being anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
And another point, which personally I think is also important, is if you have the means of only creating babies that are perfectly healthy, what happens to disabled people? Like getting rid of disabilities seems like a great thing, right?
Yeah.
But also
Well,
you
with
kind of
overall
run into the
disability.
issue that there are going to be disabilities.
Yeah. Can't cure like a
But
missing egg.
well, that for one, but like, I don't know, like, what kind of diseases could there be?
Yeah, some diseases also. We don't know
Like-
the details, but yeah.
Chronic diseases.
Exactly.
Maybe the person doesn't work well with the therapy, or maybe they
Yeah,
didn't have the
there's
money or whatever.
So much possibilities, yeah.
Either way, if this kind of technology exists and is commonly spread, then you probably have the issue of disabilities and disabled people being even more stigmatized than they are anyways, you know?
And
Which
then
is kind of a
also,
problem.
another thing is two more things. First of all, it can be a weapon. I mean, like you can
Yes.
edit the gene. Like you can put cancer into people. You can take it out. You can put it in. You can like get rid of the human. You like makes the human immune system weak, or like you know put in a sickness which just doesn't have a counter because it counters antibiotica.
Oh yeah.
You put it into one person, it's not gonna spread. But I don't know. You get it maybe to the water supply. I don't know how. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be used as a biological weapon.
It can
Yes.
always be used as a biological weapon. It can be used to create biological weapons. It can be used to change animals, which you never know, right? I don't know, like super dogs, fight dogs, what do I know? But also way more real and way more near is genetically modified food, which has been a thing for a while now.
Yeah.
But now it goes from like a few companies can do it to like nearly everyone can. Like in
Well-
10 years, every university lab can modify mice. I'm sure of it. And
No.
like that's great, but you can also fuck up a lot. You know what I mean?
I think genetically modified food is actually a very difficult topic, which I myself am not entirely sure on.
I am against
Because
mainly very carefully for.
yeah, I know that there's definite issues and big question marks with it, and that's what makes
I
it
can give you my
dangerous.
opinion. Like the idea of genetically modified food is interesting and should be pursued by scientists, but the commercial use we see today by companies such as Monsanto is absolutely atrocious, gross, inhumanitarian,
Yes.
and
Yes. That is definitely an issue.
illegal,
The-
and I don't know what. But for example, there
The
is like
capitalism.
that golden rice, right, in India,
Yeah.
which basically saved like a couple billion people, from starvation. So it's not that bad, or from disability, starvation, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of advantages. You have to kind of admit.
It
Yeah, no,
is.
definitely.
Even if there again you have some dependencies and stuff, right?
I
I
still
mean,
I
honestly,
mean, like, that's
to
still
a
better
certain,
dependency than stuff like Monsanto's doing. So.
I feel like
like,
the advantages outweigh the possible
I think
advantages. I
on
feel
on on a fundamental level, we've always been doing things like that, like artificially
Evolution.
brainwashing.
Yeah.
artificially driving evolution a certain way, like breeding crops, breeding animals. That's genetically
Yeah,
engineering to a
artificial
degree as
selection.
well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like entirely immoral fundamentally, but with GMOs in particular, there's as you said, there's the issue of capitalistic interests behind it,
Yeah,
like Monsanto,
and like massive degrees, and like it was
which make it
everything.
dangerous.
I think this is something we're gonna have very recurrently, and we're still gonna have to mention it every time, because we have a lot of topics where there's like huge power in something, be it here in gene
Yes.
editing or in social media or in whatever, and huge power just means there's huge potential for abuse. Social media hasn't quite proven that yet, right? It's proven that there can be issues, but it's also proven that it's willing to fix it, or trying to, or pretending to try to, or whatever. I mean, like, encryption, but some other issues more. But Monsanto is just an example of you can have huge power and you completely abuse it to enslave countries. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even funny anymore. So yeah. How about we switch to the next topic, because it's been 17 minutes.
17. That's good. I started my timer late.
So, Mohit,
All
social
right.
impact of video games. You wanted to talk about this?
Oh, did I? Okay. Like,
That was nice, smoothly.
okay. So,
Sorry. Yes, you did, Mohit, though.
well, anyway, so social impact of video games. When it comes to video games, like I play online games a lot. Is the only game I play. There's this game called Team Fortress 2, and well,
Oh, you mean like Overwatch?
oh fuck you. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm not gonna start a flame war here, so I'm leaving. I think I'm gonna leave.
Don't leave.
Anyway.
No. Don't leave.
Team Fortress 2, okay. Anyway, it has an online community. Every online game has sort of a community, I guess. And thankfully, I can say that it's pretty okay. But like sometimes it gets bad. Sometimes there's a lot of shit talking and blaming and things like that. But mostly, Team Fortress 2 is a nice little.
I think the bigger the communities get most of the time, the more they get flamey, and the younger.
Yeah.
Also, because the younger, you have also more tendency of maybe not understanding languages, and also being bad at the game, and of being very naive and stuff, and like, young people like puberty. But you can have very toxic communities. You can also have very kind communities. You can also have communities which are like a mixture of very toxic people and like very kind people. I literally, like, when I was like 13, 14, I was in online games, like browser games,
Yeah.
Like those city building stuff where you like spend huge amounts of time like a retard. But I met some really awesome people with which I would like just chat for hours and hours, like, I was slowly playing the game and waiting for stuff to finish, but and like really help me out and stuff like that, and just kind of people like not only to use me like not for a month but actually for like a year or two. It was pretty fun. But then also you'd have assholes, of course.
I think it's dangerous to generalize internet communities.
Yeah.
Like just saying the entire community is toxic, but there are tendencies. Personally, I'm not very involved with the gaming community as a whole, so I've mostly seen families
I think gaming communities, you always have multiple communities. Like you have the pro community, first of all, which most of the time, which actually can depend a lot. For example, in StarCraft, it's I think a very inclusive community most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but then
Then
it
you have
also
the fan community,
the
and
what?
then the fan community, like
Yeah.
those who follow like the esports or like the pros or the big streamers or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which often also like those who go to events, so they meet with the pros, they meet with each other, so they kind of get more of a personal and like close knit community. Then you have like the elitist gamers, which probably are more like flamers or create flamers and stuff, like that thing. Of people who don't really go to events but still play a lot, are good or either are bad and they're like very vocal. And then that can be very toxic at games a lot, or at least very disagreeing, like on balance issues and stuff. Like you don't have agreements
That
there.
sounds like Team Fortress. But like we all love this game.
Exactly. And
That's
then you have that
common.
community level where it's like, we just all love StarCraft. Let's make, StarCraft hype or TF2 hype videos or posters or
Yeah.
game events, which are then often also company sponsored. Like
Yeah. But
obviously.
like
But
Valve.
that's good. That's good.
Oh yeah. That's something I want to talk about. Like TF2, Valve has basically given up on TF2. There's a very small dev team, and there's very little support. You get like one update every 5 months, and then basically like Valve has given up. So the community is basically what it is keeping it alive. And since TF2 is such a small community, there's nothing like the tiers of like in StarCraft, like editor community. Like we are all sort of. I guess there's a casual community and a more competitive community, but like most of the time those coincide because Team Fortress 2 not much of a competitive scene. Although it is really, people like underestimate how competitive of a game it can be.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but anyway, like it's a really goofy game too, which contributes to the community being goofy, and that's why too it holds up. I think
there are a lot of very nice videos floating around, like source filmmaker videos based on TF2.
TF2 is like huge, and every year at least Valve is still doing that. Like there's a sort of a SFM movie Oscar award ceremony, like they're called the Saxies, and every year someone I don't know if there's a cash prize, but there's in-game items which are very very rare and very very TF2 has an economy, right? Like CS:GO, and yeah, it's hats. Yes, and
nice. Can we maybe go back to topic?
Yeah. Anyway, like TF2 good community.
Another community I was thinking about is the modding community for many video games. Like even if it's like different video game, which tends to be very small. Like you have a bit of supporters depending on the video game, but tends to be I think very close knit. Like a lot of recognition, like built on the mod of this or using what this guy created, but who stopped using it. Like I modified it and stuff like that. And where you also tend to have some support, like from on forums, like I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do this. Oh, you can do it like this, or you can use what I did here, or and in general, maybe you know more about that, Mohit, but like coding communities and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like 3 years old, but sometimes you have really nice communities. You have to actually find them. That's more the tricky thing. But yeah, and often they demand that you also help. Like it's not like you just come and ask questions and go, but they demand that or ask that you also answer us, whatever. But that's a way of making it work. Nicholas, since you're not really into gaming and we've been talking about gaming only, what about other online communities? Maybe.
Well, actually, let's stay with the gaming community for 1 second because
but what
there is
about
a
the
topic.
gaming fandom community?
No.
Oh, okay. Go what you want to say. Go what you want to say.
Yeah. Gaming fandom, those are gamers and they create stuff.
Yeah, just skip that.
Yeah. Something that comes up a lot and that is talked about a lot is sexism in the gaming community.
Like yeah.
I think the most recent incarnation of that was the gate that shall not be named.
Tell us.
So what are you guys' thoughts on this? I've mostly watched from the outside.
What?
Like
okay.
Talking specifically about Overwatch. and I think it was a sniper, right? No, and
Yeah,
tracer.
Oh yeah.
Widowmaker and tracer, yeah, and like something like you could see their bots. I kind of, on one hand, I do agree that it's unnecessarily feministic and sexist, but on the other hand, I think really people are making a big deal out of something which isn't, because it and like A, it's a game, and B, she doesn't represent sexist
Like
actions in
90%.
any way,
Yeah.
right?
There was a game theories or
Like
something.
if you
There's a
want to
channel.
see sex somewhere, you're gonna see it.
Do you know this channel called Game Theories? I think.
Yes,
Yes?
but that's just a theory.
That's the best.
That
That's the
game
worst.
theory.
That's the fucking worst. Like, it made a TF2 versus Overwatch comparison video. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I saw
It
that.
was
Yes.
so bad. It was so bad.
Let's not talk about the game theorists. They went downhill very
Yeah,
soon.
but then like they actually like made made comments about TF2 not having any female characters.
Wait, okay. No. Yeah, I mean, like at some
No,
point,
but-
like
so
sure
stupid,
you can put half
yeah.
girls guys in a war game, but then
It's
it's not really
stupid.
realistic either, right? Like back in World War II, I don't even know if there were any women in the front line. Probably a couple, but like it's a rarity. Maybe in
That's
Russia more, you know. But
Like saying that a game is sexist because it doesn't have
yeah,
any female
women.
characters. is so stupid.
that's not exactly the point I was gonna
I know.
discuss here.
Okay.
It's a different point that we can discuss as well, but at another point in time. Because what we were talking about earlier was community,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And what a lot of talk is being talked about. Yeah, what's being talked about a lot, and what seems to happen a lot, is that women in gaming communities get harassed sexually. You know, that's what I want to know your
May I
thoughts on.
point out something that was maybe due to, even if it's a pretty shitty excuse?
But
Sure.
You have an extremely low amount of women in the gaming community.
yes.
Extremely
not,
low.
That's not actually true, according to statistics from I don't know where. But
Really. From what I know,
I-
like 10 years ago, it wasn't like that, but now.
apparently, 40% of gamers are women. I don't know the exact statistics.
Those are okay.
but-
I am very sure that those are numbers which take into account like phone gamers and stuff. For me, that doesn't really count. Like if you're playing Angry Birds on your phone, that is counted in many studies as a gamer, or on your iPad. But for me, where do you get sexually harassed there? Like, I'm sorry, you don't.
But you do get sexually harassed when you're a woman speaking up in, I don't know, Call of Duty. Boy,
Yes, but I think at that point you don't have 40% of women in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I doubt that too, but that doesn't change the fact that it's an issue.
So no. So what my point is trying to say is, and I'm not saying it's an excuse, yeah, or but it might be a reason of why we are so aware of also of it in gaming. That as you have so few women, even if you have the same proportion of sexist or sexually harassing guys per population, way more of the women in the gaming community are going to get sexually harassed, right?
Okay, why do you think like
But yeah, it's I don't know.
Why do you think like gaming is inherently not about?
I think it's just got to do with anonymity of gaming.
Really? No, I don't. I really don't think so. Like I think it's.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know why. Really.
And maybe that guys feel superior because they're maybe often better at games, right?
Yes, but
I
why is that
honestly
the
doubt that.
Why is that the case? Like, why are more people?
Because
more
guys play more. I mean, that's a fact. Guys play more video games, and that's why they're better. That's a study I saw.
Yeah, but why do they play better? Like more? Why?
Because what are games? They are war games. What do guys grow up with? Playing with tanks. What do girls grow up with? Playing with kitchens and Barbies. Not saying it's good, saying it's forced upon us like that. Like it's forced upon parents. Oh, you have a little daughter, why don't you buy her a little pink, bed and a little Barbie doll? Oh, you have a son, why don't you buy him this tractor and these like model soldiers, or then later on Call of Duty. So yeah, that's why guys will play more. That's why you have guys who probably also get better. Not that that's the main point I'm trying to make here, but that's why, especially in the actually like gaming communities, like PC or Xbox, like actual gamers where you actually
Yeah.
communicate and stuff, you really don't have many girls. Yes, you have women like playing in the train or when waiting, you know, or stuff like that. Or my mom
like
may
phone
be
games.
playing Sudoku, but for me that's not a gamer, and she doesn't get sexually harassed there. And those are not the people who complain about sexual harassment. It's the few women, and I am aware that that's a fact. I mean, I've encountered it myself, more or less, yeah. But which are in gaming communities such as World of Tanks or StarCraft or something, which are actually gamer games where you have, I don't know. And the Homestead Cup was actually pretty. I don't know, we had like 10% women. So the Homestead Cup was the event that was, yeah.
Ah,
It was 10-15% women, actually there, and they
I
were
thought
actually
it was
interested in the game. Yeah, it wasn't like just like the bartenders or something. Actually, most on their own, one or two like with their boyfriend or something. But then yeah, like that.
So
World of Tanks though has like extremely low woman count. Like out of like the 400-500 people, 600 people or 1,000 people I met in that game, 2 were women or 3 were women. You know what I mean? 4, but 0.4%.
well, I've got an article from The Guardian right here in front of me, according to which 52% of players identify as women.
Players of what? What's the definition of players? That's the question.
Players, gamers.
Yeah, but like of what games? Because again, phone games for me don't count.
I think the issue is not that women are fundamentally interested in phone games. It's that in phone games you don't get sexually harassed. You know?
What?
No, I think.
I think that.
No.
No. I think
I don't think
it's something that is very real. Because the
Wait,
experiences.
how many girls do you know in TF2 playing?
Oh, 1. Like a what? Like a
Yeah.
pro? Like you know?
Anything. Out of all the people you know who played
Oh,
TF2,
okay.
be it from friends and like where you know the gender, you know what I mean? Of those where you know the gender.
Oh, like do pro players like sort of?
Yeah,
count?
if you've seen
Like
them
Melvin
stream,
or
if you've
maybe-
watched them play, you know.
Yeah, I know of
Your friends, everything,
4.
online friends.
I know 4.
And how many guys?
A lot.
Hey, don't tell me it's 52% women, Nicholas. I'm sorry.
Like it's.
Look, I have numbers in front of me, and I think that it's.
I know at least like 30, 40 guys.
Yeah.
Like pros.
I'm not saying women don't play games, yeah, but I'm saying it's.
They don't play much.
Here, same at Jacobs, we had like a gaming, like esports thingy, because I had like competition between things. How many girls were there, Wade?
Like 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4. 4, I think.
And how many guys?
Many.
The rest, right? Like
many.
20?
Like
rare to actually see
40,
a woman
50?
in gaming, or even a woman that actually tells you she is a woman. You know?
But if you're at something like a uni.
Yeah, but what remember that? Remember he said identify as a woman. Identify.
Are you saying the gays count or what? Like, what's your point?
No, I'm saying like I can lie about my gender online. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. I think we're not getting forward anytime soon here, so we should change topic. Next topic, a really short topic. There's a little add-on for your, I guess, PC, like a little program you can run, which is called f.lux. And basically what it does, it adapts your screen color in general to the time of the day. So that basically when the sun sets, it slowly becomes like warmer, so a bit like, not darker, but yeah, like a bit of, how would you describe it? Warmer, yeah?
Yeah, warmer.
Well, at day, it's, you know, standard white bright light. And the point of this being that you don't have super bright, like sunlight bright light when you're looking at your screen at night, and you can go to sleep way easier.
It's not just that. It sort of filters out blue light, which is scientifically proven to make you drowsier, make you more sleepy. So if you're working late nights, it actually helps you not feel sleepy. It doesn't just like tint your color, your screen like to red, but it like actually
there's a point behind it.
Like changes out color temperature.
So yeah, I'm gonna try that out. I just installed that like 3 hours ago.
I've been using that for like a year.
And you approve?
What?
And you approve of it? Like you recommend using it?
Yeah, I love it. But I even have a similar app on my phone called Twilight. check that
Nicholas,
out.
maybe you want to install it too, and then we can talk about it again next week.
Yeah, currently installing it actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then next topic.
Maybe- Yeah, consider installing it on your phone too. There's Twilight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nicholas, next topic
Right.
would be space and stuff like that. I heard you study physics.
Space.
Does that
Oh,
mean
really?
you
I
know
do.
things?
I do certainly know things. What things is the question?
What is
Talk
one
about
thing?
space travel. How could we fly around space?
No? Okay.
How do we
In a
fly
rocket?
around? First of all, let's start at the beginning. How do we fly around space? Let's not go like back in the past, but like, how do we fly around space nowadays?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, we personally don't actually do it that much. Like, when was the last moon landing? It was a while ago.
Yeah, but
So like
we're in
manned space
space, right?
travel. We are, yeah, manned space travel outside of Earth's orbit actually hasn't happened for a whole while. But I'm guessing you're talking more like the technical way to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Which really, it's about as simple as you could imagine it. You take a rocket, you put your stuff on the rocket, and then you send it upwards.
Well, I mean, like, that's not really how it works. You put stuff in the rocket, you set it on fire, the fire comes out at the back, and you go forwards, right? Okay, up.
Yes.
Like, since
Yes.
since we want to talk about how we actually move in space. So basically,
Well, the
rockets,
first-
how are rockets shaped? Like an arrow,
Like a ro-
basically, right?
Like
More or less.
rockets?
They're aerodynamic. Well,
Well, I mean, like, for
First
example,
in-
space shuttle is more shaped like a plane. It's not that obvious how the satellite shaped, like whatever,
Uh,
right?
Do you know, Nicholas, do you know what it's called, like in math? Like what is it geometrically called? The
It's a
shape of
cylinder
rocket?
with a cone on top.
yeah, it's roughly a cylinder. It's
Yeah?
roughly a cylinder.
Is that your
Approximations are everything in physics. So
approximation assumptions?
It's a cylinder.
Then
There's no air friction, right? And the Earth doesn't turn.
it's something like that.
Oh, that doesn't quite work out, I think. But okay.
Common misconception, by the way: rockets don't go up.
Ah.
True, they go.
You can't get a rocket into space by sending it straight up. That doesn't work.
You send it sideways, and then the Earth turns away.
You kind of like first thing you do whenever you get into orbit, you get into space, is you need to get an orbit.
Yeah, okay.
So you
that's-
need to send the rocket around the Earth in a circular.
Yeah,
kind
but
of
for,
motion.
like at
So-
the very beginning, you do fly straight up, right? And
yeah,
then
for
you
a little
curve.
bit, but
Yeah,
you'll
of course,
notice
yeah,
that rockets very quickly turn.
curve. Yeah, okay, yeah, true.
There was actually a rocket launch just last weekend, I think,
Ooh.
of a weather satellite broadcasted on the NASA website, which I watched. It was very fun to watch.
I should have sent the link.
Where they did just that, because to actually escape the Earth's gravity, that's a huge task. Earth's pull is pretty huge. So what you do is you accelerate your rocket up until the point where it's so fast that it essentially falls sideways, you know? So it falls, but it moves forward so quickly that it doesn't actually re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, and that's what an orbit is, right?
Yeah.
And to achieve that, you actually need to go sideways. And that's how you get to space in the first place.
Question: if we are actually like in space, right, like out of Earth orbit,
Yes.
so let's say like we want to travel maybe to not Mars but further away planet, or even like outside of our star. Yeah, I'm not talking like intergalactic, but
Yes.
does the shape matter? Like once we are out of Earth, but if we would have like a does the shape matter for that part of travel or not?
Well, no, not really. Like when you actually get out of the Earth's atmosphere, obviously you want as little friction as possible.
Yeah.
When you re-enter, you want as much friction as possible because
Why?
the air slows you down.
Oh
You
yeah.
want to
But
land,
once you-
right? You don't want to crash.
Yeah.
The biggest part of slowing down in an atmosphere is actually done by heating up your heat shields. That's actually something that you do to slow down.
Wait, what? I thought the slowing down heats up your heat shields. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
but
okay, yeah.
you
I
get the
get
point.
it. Same way.
Like,
Yeah, I get the point.
it slows you down a lot. But once you're in space, there's
But
basically nothing there.
that's like we could assemble like something shaped like a house in space, right? If we like ship up in 4 parts, which are like in a rocket, and then just fly
Sure.
that. over to
we
like
couldn't do that. I mean, the reason why satellites and space stations are kind of shaped like whatever
or like
is because
it
it's
doesn't matter. Yeah.
no, not because it doesn't matter, but because it's extremely, extremely expensive to actually send things to space.
Oh yeah.
And so you have to be very, very efficient.
No,
So
true.
you cut corners literally. You literally cut the corners, and that's how you get the strange shapes. So things are as light as possible.
Makes sense. Okay. And also,
And that's why you have weird cubes.
you have to somehow have space for the solar panels, right?
That too, yes.
Like you have to kind of consider that. Like you can't just have a weird ass thing and then you still need
Yeah.
place between the solar panels to land, for example. That's pretty useful.
Well, most things we send to space aren't actually designed to land, so
Oh, like yeah, it just docks, right? Well, I mean, you need to dock, whatever.
yeah, sure. Well,
That's what I mean.
yeah.
Like, you need to be able to take cargo. That's what I mean. Not like, oh, now we turn it a bit. Now the solar panel blocks the entrance. What do we do? Cut it off. It's just worth 40 million.
Yeah.
How likely do you think it is that we see people on the Mars, like in our lifetime, like one of us?
In
three?
our lifetime?
I would say 95%.
Probably.
Yeah, same.
Very probable. Like, there's projects being worked on right now.
Yeah,
Of course, there's been projects
worked
since,
on 1950s.
yeah,
1950s?
but
No.
still,
Yeah, since whenever. I mean, depends on. But yeah, I
like,
completely agree. Then what do you
with-
think about other planets than Mars? No, actually, will we have like a living something on Mars, like a town, or just a couple researchers?
I mean,
Like,
if
will
you're
we get
going
to the
there,
point where you have like families?
I think I'm.
if you're going there, you might as well send up entire families because you're there for a while. It takes, with current technology, it would take half a year to get there. Half a year?
True,
I
but
think.
would it be ethically correct to send up a child? Not really, right? Not at the beginning, like not until you know the long-term effects and shit.
No, obviously not. Especially because,
And
like,
would you want to actually create a child there? I don't know. I mean, it's not like you have to, right? You could just use condoms, still have fun there, and send up new people every 10 years. Like that's actually a
well,
question, because like there is some until you know.
I think
Maybe
I
first
think
you want to
that
do studies on animals, maybe.
I think that there's a big difference between like just going there and actually colonizing the place.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. Me too. That's like my question. Like we agreed on that going there is very probable, but what do you guys think about kind of colonizing it at least?
No, I
I'm
don't
not
think.
saying making it inhabitable, but getting like a town or something going, right? Which
I
kind of
think that-
survives.
I don't think that's possible in our lifetime. No.
No?
Oh.
I don't know if it's gonna happen in our lifetime, but I do think probably it's eventually gonna happen.
Yes, but
Assuming my lifetime is like
eventually-
120 years or something, right? Or like one of us three is gonna live 120 years, which I assume.
eventually,
Not me though.
yes, but not like
I
our
don't
life-
think that it's possible in our lifetime, like 30% or something. Do you think we will discover a sign of life, not from Earth, and confirm
On
not from Earth? Not like, oh, did we bring this here or not? We're not sure. In our lifetime.
no,
No?
Well,
Not even like microbic level?
no.
I
No.
can see
Why so
micro
I don't
I
know.
can see
Like,
microbiological life being found.
I just don't think like it's a possibility at this point. I don't know why, but it's just a view that I have.
Okay, that's fascinating. Does it have anything to do with like your culture, religion, or something, or like?
No,
Is it just-
nothing.
Is it,
Like
is it like a book you read, or like
nothing.
from since
Like,
when do you have this opinion?
I don't know. Like just now. I never thought of this, but now I think of it. No, like I don't think it's possible in our lifetime. Maybe after, I don't know, like it's 300, 400 years, maybe, but I don't think.
I think so.
I really don't think so.
Ah.
Maybe when
Okay,
you.
what does that? Wait, let's think smart. For me, that means that we get outside of the solar system. I was like I would be surprised. There could be something on Mars, but I would be surprised at this point.
No, yeah, Mars.
So
would
for
be.
me, it would mean like not humans, but we have to send like roboters or something to like planets not from our solar system, right? Or
Well,
meteorites, maybe.
if we
Or
actually send
asteroids.
things out, mind if I? If we actually do send things to places, to planets belonging to other stars, then we are not gonna see anything within our lifetimes. because the next star is like what, 3 light years away? I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, that's
No, I actually have
Someone
to
seen
look at that.
Flash?
No, I think
Yeah, okay, it doesn't really matter, like way too far away. But okay, but there's still maybe like the possibility of finding something from like asteroids, right? Somewhere in our solar system.
I don't think so either. But
Yeah,
okay.
you can like find a skeleton or something.
no,
But then
not a
again, how do you know
skeleton.
it's not from Earth, right?
Yeah.
Microbiological life, I
Or
can
microbiological
imagine.
life, like which can kind of come from a
Yeah.
planet from another solar system 500 light, 500 what years ago, or 500 billion years ago. I don't know what.
The closest star to Earth, aside from the Sun, is 4.24 light years away.
Okay.
We're not reaching that anytime in our lifetime.
Alpha Centauri, right?
Yes, Proxima Centauri.
Proxima Centauri. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Proxima.
Well,
Oh,
it's
isn't that the
Alpha
one they
Centauri.
said that looks like looks Earth-like, so it could have life, like in the media?
No,
Oh, that was
not
Proxima
that.
Centauri too, no?
That was something else. Like, I don't know which one you're talking about, but there have been a lot.
Doesn't. Yeah, there's been so many. It's like, it's so funny. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I think most of it is definitely media hype.
A lot of things, especially when it comes to like
Like
groundbreaking
the
scientific
thing
advancements.
is like with things like gene editing.
Yes.
If this kind of gets going, and we are in a situation where the way it looks right now, this is common practice in 50 years. Like common practice. We have a population which suddenly doesn't get sick, it doesn't like gets old. Like we double in population. Like wait, no, we 10-double our population in 50 years again or something. We're gonna have to get into space. And I think the one thing that humans are very good and very bad, like we make us very good and very bad at the same time, is if we really need to do something, we always find a way to get it done. Like, whatever the consequences. Environment, freedom, you know what I mean? But I think if you're at that point where it's like, yo, we're starving or we're sending you into space, what you want to do? I'll help you build that rocket and they'll fly. You know what I mean? It's just
Sure.
And I think at that point, it's just gonna go pretty fast. Even if it might be, I don't know, yeah. Maybe we send like 100 people to Mars, they live, then we send like 100,000, and then 15 years later they all die, and then we start all over. What do I know? And also, I think something that's gonna happen is tiny colonization of the moon, like as a playground, because the moon is just so close but still so different from Earth, right?
Well, there are definite issues with that, like just human physiology. Surviving we're not designed to live in outer space. We're not designed to live in areas with extremely low
So you mean the moon's
gravitation.
gravity is too low, while Mars would have enough?
Not necessarily enough. Like there's still issues with that. Like
yeah, okay, but I mean,
muscles and bones atrophying are an issue for
what
people.
about like suits though? Like if you would wear some kind of a suit all the time, like with fighter pilots?
Sure, there's ways to work around that, but like for long-term colonization, words, those are issues you have to worry about.
I mean, there's so many issues, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, I just think at some point, if we have to get it done, maybe in the end we just end up building like I don't know, like fancy asteroid planets around Earth, like islands, like other moons, with fake gravity.
We build flying cities.
Yeah, or like big, space stations or something. I mean, like not that hard, right?
It's
take
doable.
the moon apart. Take the moon apart, make it into 4 things or something. Make them a bit
big
lower.
Big issue with space travel on that currently is just that it's insanely expensive to get something up.
Yeah, I know.
Because of the way
I mean, like for now, right? What about space elevators, for example?
They have a couple of engineering issues as well, although they're a great idea on paper.
I mean, obviously, I completely agree. Yeah, everything. Maybe we get. I mean, like maybe we end up with a point where like solar planes, right? You can just like fly to space. I mean, solar planes are a thing. Planes which fly only thanks to sun energy. Sure, they're not the fastest and they look weird as a lot, but they fly and they fly well, right? Or well enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows with technological progress? Okay. I
There's
doubt you're actually gonna have a solar plane flying into space because you still need to actually translate the energy to something like a rocket. Like, because like a propeller is never gonna go fast enough, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you talk about that
Why?
because there has been a study published recently, which there has been a lot of hype about and a lot of rumble, and apparently it was actually peer reviewed and has been executed and published under the American government, which deals with exactly that, which is a theoretical concept that shows it's possible to generate thrust without actually having a rocket. To just use electromagnetic waves, to just use
What?
microwaves essentially to give yourself propulsion. I haven't actually read through the paper yet, so I can't tell you how it works in detail. But it's it's apparently not exactly known how it works, why it works, which is why it makes why it's such an interesting topic.
Okay. So it's more in the state of like, yo, we found this really cool thing, and less in the state of we're building
Yes,
this rocket that flies with microwaves.
yeah, it's the part where the physicists come in. Like that was something the physicists did. That was not something the engineers did.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like the physicists discover cool stuff, and the engineers build cool stuff with the cool stuff
Yeah,
they
yeah, I know
found.
what you mean. Yeah, it's like look what we found.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good summary. But okay, no, but that's still pretty fascinating.
I think we can talk about that thing specifically a bit more, like next time, because I'm really intrigued by that discovery.
Okay. Do some more research
But
on that.
yeah, but for now, we have run out of time. We've gone for long enough.
Yeah.
So
See you, everybody. Thanks for watching this episode.
yes, do remember to like, comment,
Share.
subscribe, and share. Yes, exactly.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Take
Tell
your
your
dog
pet.
and his phone and make him watch the video and press the like button.
Absolutely.
Because there's a
important.
wolf on the screen, so he should like it. Okay?
Yes.
Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.